All right, guys. Thanks as always for jumping in and checking out my YouTube channel. I got some exciting news. The website that we've been discussing will be launching today or tomorrow. So within the next 24 hours, the website will be live. I want to remind you at this point that I am not doing scouting reports. I'm not qualified to do scouting reports, and I'm not watching enough film to call what I'm doing a scouting report. Because scouting reports, for most people that you listen to, will say you probably need to watch about 5 games. I believe the Scouting Academy does 5 games where you're watching a player for 200 to 300 snaps in order to get a clear picture of who they are and what they are on the football field. I won't be watching that many. I'll be watching 2 games for everybody that I'm writing on. So these are film reviews. I'm reviewing the film that I watched. I'm reviewing the player in those 2 games, which is a brief look into who a player actually is. So I don't want anybody to go ahead and say, yo, Ronnie said that this guy's a Hall of Famer, so he's a Hall of Famer. Or Ronnie said that he probably won't make it in the league, so he won't make it in the league. Listen, even if I scouted somebody proper, I did 5 games, 10 games. Do your own work too. What do your eyes tell you? That's what this is all about, and that's actually why I'm doing this. The analysis that I'm doing right now on players is very much surface level. I'm able to look into it a little bit. I am pretty well knowledge for a fan, but I don't have any in-depth knowledge. I don't have experience playing high school football, college football, or NFL football. I grew up on an island where, of course, like the rest of the world, we don't even call it football. We call it American football. Because what you call soccer, we call football. So I'm 1,000 miles away, 100,000 miles away, experiencing this game on TV. And of course, we're talking about broadcast views when you're watching games for the most part. So you're only able to do so much with that. Now, of course, I did have NFL Game Pass International, and that was amazing. I love the coaches film, the All 22. But you may or may not know, NFL Plus is not available to internationals. I think it's just the US, Canada, maybe Mexico, and NFL Plus includes coaches film. NFL Game Pass International going forward isn't going to include the All 22. So I got to figure out another way to go about doing that. I have reached out to some persons via email about some other software that I do believe does it. I just got to find out how much it costs and figure out if it's worth the investment. So in order for me to grow my knowledge or to grow my tool base with which I analyze players, I have to take another step. I have just about soaked up everything I could viewing football from this vantage point. I'm not gonna get any smarter or any more knowledge. I listen to a lot of different podcasts. I read a lot. I even write a lot, as you guys know. I wrote for the Landry Hat a little bit, and I wrote for NFL Breakdowns a little bit. So I do get pretty analytical, and I am capable of getting pretty analytical. But I want to I want to be able to add some depth, and in order to do that, I need to surround myself by persons who have been in those rooms and had those conversations, persons who've had those talks, which is why I'm excited about the Scouting Academy, because you've got a lot of people in the industry, a lot of people with real experience who are involved in this thing. So some of the things I like to listen to, some of the resources I enjoy, Victory Sports is cool. The Move the Sticks podcast is one that I really enjoy with Daniel Jeremiah and Bucky Brooks. Of course, I listen to any and all things Cowboys related, so I won't get into that because we will be here for a while. I listen to and read anything Dane Brugler puts out. I think he's brilliant. I love the work that he does. His draft guide, The Beast, if you guys aren't aware, it's something that you need in your life every year. He works with The Athletic now, so I have a subscription to The Athletic, so I keep up with the things he writes there. My favorite my favorite person to listen to and to read is Matt Miller. I think Matt Miller is very insightful. It doesn't mean he's a better scout than the others, but I think he does a better job explaining to those of us who aren't scouts kind of what scouts do and how they do it. And in fact, I came across a tool of his that's going to change the way that I'm writing my reports or my reviews for the next 2 months while we wait for, or 3 months, sorry, while we wait for the Scouting Academy. So to now, I've really been reviewing film and then just going on, person strengths, weaknesses, the things I'm perceiving. But it doesn't provide a lateral barometer. And what I mean by that is I want to be able to, for every offensive lineman I review, I want to be able to say we're looking at the same things. Every safety we review, we want to be able to say this guy's agility and hips compared to this guy's agility and hips. So Matt Miller put together a report or a series of reports back when he was working for Bleacher Report. They were what scouts look for in a safety or what scouts look for in a quarterback, something along those lines. And he did it for every position. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that. And in fact, I'll make a post where I outline those things. Obviously, I won't do it verbatim. I'm not going to plagiarize anybody's works, but I'm going to go ahead and probably make a post in the next few days that outlines those things so that when you're reading my reports, and this is going to be the future reports, I have about 8 or 9, maybe 10 on there now that I wrote before I came across these tools or before I came across these posts. So I obviously didn't use it, and I'm not going to throw those posts out. This site is about my growth. So those are going to be, I guess, the genesis. And now we're going to step forward and do the rest of the reports between now and the Scouting Academy using these reports from Matt Miller so that we have that barometer for every position. He has a list of things that he said back in 2013 scouts look for. We know the game evolves day to day, week to week, year to year. So we're talking about a list from a decade ago. Obviously, we'll make some sense of it. The truth of the matter is he kept it very general, so those things are still going to be relevant today. So we're going to use that going forward. Like I said, for the next 3 months, I think that'll be fun. It's always good to try new things. And I think this is something that for somebody like myself, it's going to provide me some discipline because it's not going to give me a box. And of course, I'm going to play outside the box a little bit, but at least it lets me say, hey, have I covered the box? These are the things in the box. I need to deliver on these things so that my report is a little bit more comprehensive. If I'm going to dance around outside the box, that's great. As long as I've fulfilled those things in the box, I think the reports are going to be a little bit more, like I said, comprehensive and a little more fulfilling. So we'll do that for the next few months. Once I get into the Scouting Academy, of course, first and foremost, I've said it once, maybe twice, but I'll say it again. The reports, the player reports, will likely slow down for that 4 weeks that I'm doing the Scouting Academy because it's a heavy, heavy workload. Everybody I hear talk about it, everything I read about it, it's time intensive, and I doubt I'll have time to be doing 3 or 4 posts on my website while I'm also going through the curriculum with the Scouting Academy. Of course, it'll pick up again after, but for that 4-month period, it'll slow down. I will be doing some posts at least weekly, maybe twice a week, to give updates about what's going on with the Scouting Academy, what I'm doing, what I'm learning, who I'm talking to, what I like, maybe don't like, and just how I'm getting on with it. And I'll also talk about how it is changing the way that I'm reviewing players, because it's going to change the way we review the players. Now, I don't know if this is going to lead to me eventually doing full-on scouting reports or if I'm going to continue it, keeping it as a film review. But there's no doubt that I will grow and it will increase the value of the product that I'm going to be able to put on screen. And that's the main thing. I want to be able to put out better content, and I want to be able to just learn and grow myself, even if I wasn't putting out content. I love football enough that I want to be able to experience it this way. And now, speaking about that, there is a YouTube video that came out a week ago. I actually just found it yesterday and I've watched it 4 times already. It's very exciting to me. You may or may not find it exciting, but it's exciting to me. It's Before the Whistle podcast, a lady named Maddie, I want to get her name right, Hudak. Yes, Maddie Hudak. She's a Saints fan, so she makes a joke about that because it sounds very similar to Hudak, right? Hudak. So, yeah, Maddie Hudak, smart young lady, and she is actually in this one YouTube video because there's a series of them. I think she probably has about 10 with the Before the Whistle podcast right now. Like she just started with them not too long ago, but this one in particular, it's called Zen something or the other. But she's talking to a gentleman by the name of Deuce Wyndham. Now, Deuce is a knowledgeable dude. He actually has a Saints podcast, apparently. I learned this watching the YouTube. I can't recall what the Saints one is called, forgive me, but he breaks down Saints players and he does so very well. I actually did watch a couple of his videos after listening to his talk with Maddie Hudak. But anyway, she credits Deuce with being the person who gave her the final, yeah, you should definitely go to the Scouting Academy. I believe they were on a podcast together previously. I think that's what she mentioned. And she said that, she was thinking about whether or not she should join the Scouting Academy. She spoke to Deuce, and Deuce kind of was like, yeah, for sure. It's worthwhile, the investment in yourself. And now when they talk, the reason I was finding it exciting is because it's exactly what I was looking for a few weeks ago when I first started looking into the Scouting Academy. I wanted somebody who had been through it relatively recently to talk about what it is, what it meant to them, and what they could gain from it. And the things that they said were so in depth without even intentionally being in depth that it made me realize this is absolutely what I want to do. I decided I was going to do it a couple of weeks ago, but of course, with anything when you're making an investment, you'll have some doubts. This erased all doubt. So I'll actually post a link to that video for anybody who's interested. It's a great talk. I think it's a great talk for football fans, period. But if anybody's thinking about the Scouting Academy, these guys really do a great job of letting you know what it is. And hey, it might be that you listen to them and say, oh, nah, Scouting Academy ain't for me. If that's what it is, it's not for me. But me, I listened to it and it confirmed that the Scouting Academy is everything that I thought it was and probably more. And I really can't wait to do it. So like I said, the website will be live today or sometime tomorrow. The next post that I put out, there are somewhere between 8 and 10 right now, like I said. The next post that I put up is going to be the one outlining Matt Miller's what scouts look for at certain positions. I might try to put it all in one post. It might be too much, so if it is, I'll separate it out offense and defense. I highly doubt I'll need to do position by position, but if I do, maybe what, maybe position by position makes more sense because then I can group it and tuck it away and say, hey, safeties, you're reading about the safety, these are the things we're looking at for the safeties, so that might actually make sense. But you tend to know these things creatively once you're writing, and that's one of the cool things about writing. Sometimes you go into it with a plan and that plan changes entirely, and I've always enjoyed writing, so I'm kind of used to that. So for this, I'm not going into it saying it has to be one list, it has to be two lists, it can't be positions. I'm gonna just go in, start making the list, see what makes most sense, and I'll put those out. So I'm not gonna do any player reviews right away outside of the ones that are already there. I'm gonna put those lists together and then I'll start banging out some player reviews again. I'm very excited about this. Really appreciate you guys. Oh, I tell you another thing too with the Scouting Academy, networking is a big thing. So you're going to have people, obviously, there will be other people in your group in the academy going through it with you. So I'll have those guys, and then the guy that runs the group and his contacts, the teachers, whoever, the professors, professors, well, the persons who are imparting their knowledge, right? So I have no idea what that means or what that looks like because I don't know any of these guys yet. But hopefully we can grow that into something. Maybe I can get some of the guys to do some guest writing sometime, or maybe even I decide, hey, let's really do a podcast. Let's really get a mic and make this thing official. Because right now my YouTube videos are more for fun than anything. Coming over from Madden, I never felt the need for a mic. We were making ebooks, but now the things that I say matter so much more. So if I'm going to do the podcast and the YouTube thing going forward, then I might get a mic, make it serious, and like I said, we could probably have some guest writers, some guest speakers. And remember this: most of the people, if not all the people that I'm going to encounter at the Scouting Academy, have more knowledge than me. So it's going to be exciting talking to them. It's going to be exciting if I can get any of them at all to provide any content or just give a little bit of their time either to the podcast if there is one, to the YouTube channel if that's what I do, or to the website, which I'm sure that I'll be sticking around and doing that. So guys, thank you very much. As always, I really appreciate the support, man. This is fun, and you guys just make it that much more fun. Now, enjoy the content when the website comes out. I'll have comment section below every one of my posts, so you can tell me what you think, of course. There'll be some of those share buttons, so you can share it on all the social forums, whether it's Twitter or YouTube. No, not YouTube, Facebook, the places you share things. So by all means, if you enjoy the content, I'm not saying share it just to share it, but if you enjoy it, please, it'll go a long way. Appreciate you guys. Talk soon.